Hello, in this video I'll be reviewing the Black Swordsman program from Omni-Man. First of all, that's a great name for a program. That's so cool, I love that. This is from his video, or at least I found it under the video of Insane 300 Rep Push-Pull Workout for Optimal Muscle Growth, which is, yeah, good title. But yeah, this program is called the Black Sword program. So first things first, I'm already biased in favor of this program because it reads really well, it's super well set out. It kind of makes me wonder about how I'm laying out my programs, but yeah, really like this. It's also got some nice notes at the top. He's talking about how he's doing it on he's doing it on a bulk, and he's talking about how how to run it if you're a beginner or not. But I'm just here to review the actual program. So we start with low. Shall we quickly say how many days this program is? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-day program. Oh, and it seems to have some. He said some floaty stuff. Oh, okay. So those are just for supersets. No. So it is a 5-day program, 2 rest days. Cool. Let's jump in on day 1. Hamstring focus. Starting with RDLs. Beautiful way to start a leg day, especially a day you're focusing on hamstrings, because there's RDLs, I think, are probably one of the premier hamstring exercises. He includes a progression. So he says linear periodization 6-week version. I'm not going to touch on that too much. One of the reasons I'm not is because this is kind of his personal program. And I imagine that that this is part of like a block for him. My thoughts on blocks for bodybuilding are sort of like up and down. I think as an intermediate or an advanced in his case, and you can tell he's advanced, his physique's insane. But I think for intermediate or advanced, you sometimes just have to figure out what progression is going to work for you, whether you think you can progress forever or you're going to take like kind of linear periodization. He says here, for example, 6 weeks. So I imagine what this is going to look like for him. He's going to progress for 6 weeks, maybe deload or at least like maintain for a bit and continue or whatever his plan is. So I'm not going to we're not going to jump into the progression too much, but I just want you to note that it's there. And that's honestly a step up from a lot of programs, mine included. I tend to stay away from progression in the sense that I think progression just comes naturally for a lot of people, myself included. I just know when to add weight and I know when not to. And that's just when you feel you can do more. But it's good to have it here, and I'm sure that works for him. So we go RDL sets 1 to 3. I think that's a good guide. I think if you're advanced or intermediate, 1 is not going to do it, but he probably knows that beginners are going to look at this program, and 1 set for them might be perfectly enough. Then we have reps, varied CLP guide. Oh, I'm assuming that's a linear periodization guide. I'm not sure where that is. I'm not going to spend ages trying to find it. I'm just going to assume that he said a decent amount of reps for these. We'll give him a benefit of the doubt. He says rest 2 to 3 minutes, which makes sense that you do want to rest a decent chunk of time between like deadlifts and squats. However, I do think you could be supersetting something here because it is a long time. Then we go calves. Double progression, so that's just his progression. 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 15 reps, 90-second rest. I think that's a bit long to rest on calves. I don't think you need that long, not even close. Calves recover very quickly. There's nothing else. You're not going to be out of cardio. You're not going to be super tired after doing calves or anything like that. And if you are going to rest 90 seconds, say he wants that 90 seconds for performance, then I think it would probably be a really good idea to superset something there. Calves superset so well because they don't tire you out. I'm not a huge fan of this exercise order because next we go to squats and single leg squats and all that sort of stuff. I would typically prefer to see calves at the end just because they're so chill, and I'd rather you use the energy at the start to... Chill's not the right word. They're very intense, but they're so technique chill. You don't need to focus on them technique-wise. So I'd rather see the more technical movements up first. But once again, you have to acknowledge that this is a more personalized program for him, and he may think that calves are a bit of a weak point, and he wants to put them earlier in the day because he knows that you should focus on your weak points and bring them earlier. So that may be why. Then we go squat machine of choice. I think this makes good sense. You've already done like a deadlift, so maybe your back's going to be a bit tired, and you just want to focus the quads. And he says of choice, so that means, I'm assuming he means, you could use a hack squat or a leg press or whatever you want here. 2 to 3 sets makes plenty of sense. Reps varied, so yeah, we're just going to say it's good. 2 to 3 minutes. Once again, I really think we could be supersetting something here, especially on a squat machine. There's no axial fatigue or anything here. So you're resting 2 to 3 minutes for your quads, which sure, fair enough, but you could be doing something else, maybe some abs, for example. Then we go single leg squat of choice. I wonder if that would include a Bulgarian or a lunge, or what he means there. Then he says 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 15 reps. I think 8 to 15 is a good rep range, although it's a little high if you're new to single leg squats. And then he says do a leg, rest a minute, do the other leg, rest a minute, etc. too. I think that makes sense, and I think this is something that a lot of people don't realize is if you're doing single variations, what are they called, unilateral variations, you want to rest between sides often because else the fatigue kind of carries over. Bulgarians are a great example of this. If you don't rest between sides of Bulgarians, you'll get way less reps on the second side. Then we have, I said that. Then we have sissy squats or leg extensions. I like the variety here. But my gym doesn't have a sissy squat setup, for example. So leg extension would be what I would do, so it's good. I think he just put this in here as just pure quad isolation. That makes a bunch of sense. 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps. I might like to see the reps jump up a little bit on that. Just because isolation can lend itself to higher reps, it's a good time to... I think there's some benefit in doing multiple rep ranges, and I think the higher rep ranges have some benefit as well. So I'd maybe like to see that be like 15 to 20 or something like that, but not the end of the world. Same thing with a very long rest break, 90 seconds, and we could be doing something in that rest break. Or we could rest shorter because it's isolation. And then we have hamstring curls, same logic about the isolation, same logic. Oh, here we go. See, he's gone 10 to 20 on the rep range here, so he's allowing you to go much higher. Once again, 90 seconds rest, I would just say you could superset something there. Probably abs or forearms, why not? So, let's jump. He says you should do high calories on that day, which, yeah, I'm not opposed to some calorie cycling on days you know you're going to be doing harder work, for sure. Then we jump into day 2, bench and arm focus. We start with bench press, makes sense, and I think this is a great way to start any day that's focusing on the upper body, like push or anything like that, opening with a compound, and of course bench is one of the greatest compounds, so why not? 3 to 4 sets, I think that's a good amount of sets. I think by the time you're warmed up for a bench, you may as well do 4, but he's giving you the option there, so no worries. Reps varied, so we won't jump into that, and then rest 3 to 4 minutes. This is a long rest break. It's almost like powerlifting level, like 4 minutes. It's not that I disagree with it. I do think there's something to be said for making sure that you rest a long time between your compounds so you can execute really well. I will say, though, that surely you could superset something here if you're just going to sit between 4 minutes between bench press sets. Then we go into standing or seated alternating dumbbell curl. Great exercise. I think dumbbell curl is like one of the greatest bicep exercises. I like how he's saying standing or seated. Some people prefer either. I wish he had said alternating or not alternating because I prefer not alternating. But that's totally fine. 2 to 3 sets, all good, and reps are varied. 2-minute rests. I'm going to stop harping on this because, but I just want you to kind of maybe have in the back of your mind if you're reading this program. The rest breaks are very long, so you could kind of go 2 ways. You could either keep a long rest and superset, or you could shorten the rest. I don't think you need that long. Or alternatively, you can do exactly what he says and not listen to me, which is fair. He is definitely more jacked than I am. Then we have overhead extension of choice, or JM press. So I like this is some log head of a tricep work. And I like how he's given of choice. This is an advanced program, so he doesn't need to hold your hand. He's just kind of giving you the vibe he wants, and then you can select which one works best for you, because you'll know by this point. 2 to 3 sets, perfect. Then we go V-bar press downs. Yep, great exercise. I really like the V-bar, and it really biases the short head, I feel like, on me. And I think that doing that right after long head makes a bunch of sense. 2 to 3 sets, 6 to 10 reps, lower reps, heavier weight, which I actually think works with a V-bar. The V-bar feels very like, you can really get into it. It almost feels a little bit like a compound in the sense that you can you can really drive into it. So I like that rep range. Then we go reverse curls. Oh, some forearms, nice. 1 to 3 sets, all good. Yep, like that. Reverse curls I think is such a fantastic exercise. Then we go weighted sit-ups. He says, okay, you know what? I've maybe talked a bit of shit too early. He says weighted sit-ups and leg raises, you can throw them anywhere else in the program. As a superset, which I think is fantastic. That makes so much sense. Like, for example, in your bench rest, 2 to 4 sets. I'd probably bump the sets up there, especially if you're going to be supersetting with lots of stuff. And then 10 to 15 reps, I think makes sense. He doesn't say if they are hanging leg raises or not. I assume they are. I actually really like this day. I think this day makes a bunch of sense, especially once you start supersetting the abs in. You're basically doing biceps, triceps, and chest, which is a classic day. And it's a much more chill day. It's going to really help you recover from that heavy leg day you just did the day before, so that's perfect. Then we rest. I'm not sure if I would place the rest day there, just because you might not need a rest after that day, because it's actually quite a chill day. It's basically just arms and bench. But that's fine. Then we go, I love this. This is music to my ears. We start, maybe that's why I placed a rest day, because we're going to bench again first the day after. Camber bar bench or full range motion dumbbell press paused. Beautiful, I love that. I would love to use a camber bar. I don't have one at my gym. I think a lot of gyms don't. But the full range motion dumbbell press to a deep stretch with a pause is insane. So I love that exercise. Such a deep stretch on the chest. It feels like the chest is blowing up. Really, really good. And scientifically it makes sense as well because it's a deep stretch on the muscle. So beautiful. 3 to 4 sets, fantastic. Reps, he says vary. See guide, so we don't know. Maybe I'll have to read his guide at some point. And then rest 2 to 3 minutes. I've stopped talking about the rest, so that's fine. Then we go seat to overhead press of choice. I like this. I love this. I really do think that this is some of the ways you should be structuring a push day is heavy flat press, heavy vertical press. And I like that he's got you doing this seated, just because why why bother with does I seated overhead press of choice? I'd rather it just said seated dumbbell press because I think I'm not a big fan of seated barbell press. I think it's a little bit janky to set up, and it's just not as good as the military press. But yeah, of choice. So up to you. 2 to 3 sets, no problem. Yeah, really, really good. Then we go to lateral raise of choice plus rear delt ISO superset. Yeah, I love that. I really like that. I think the superset of lateral raises to rear delts, my one of choice is a face pull, but you could do whatever you want there, as he says. I think that's a fantastic superset. 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 15 I think is perfect as well. Great rep range. And I honestly think it's such a basic but smart way of structuring like a push day, essentially, is heavy flat press, heavy vertical press, side delts. And then even better if you're going to do some extra rear delts as well. And I think the superset makes a bunch of sense. So that's awesome. Then we go hammer curl variation of choice. Didn't know there were that many variations of hammer curls. I guess I would just do a standard one if that was me. 3 sets, 5 to 10. Yeah, really like that. Some extra bicep work and forearm work. Perfect. Very heavy hammer curls, but that's fine. 5 to 10, no problem. Reverse curl with slow negative. Yeah, I like that. Like I said before, reverse curls are fantastic. I would maybe like to see that be flexor work rather than extensor work, just because so forearms like flexors, extensors. Because the reverse curl trains the extensors, but we already reverse curled a couple of days ago. Maybe it would make sense to do some flexor work here, like a finger curl or something, but that's kind of nitpicky. Then we go V-bar, straight bar, push down. Yeah, I like that. Bit of extra tricep volume, though, and why not? Like it's not gonna cost you anything. Then we go GHD sit-ups. Oh, beautiful. I love GHD sit-ups. Basically, any sit-up with an extra range of motion is perfect. And leg raises superset. An agonist superset there, so supersetting the same muscle for more intensity. But I don't hate it. That's just a great way of like nuking your abs at the end of the day. I'd say probably what I would do just to shorten this day a little bit is I might do the hammer curl variation as a giant set with that abs at the end, and I might superset the reverse curl and the V-bar push down together, and that would just shorten out your day a little bit. Cool. Then we go lower body day 2, Olympic squat. I'm assuming he just means like an arse to grass squat, which is perfect. Great way of opening a day. Heavy compound movement for a full range of motion. Beautiful. 3 sets, 3-minute rest. We won't talk about the rest anymore, but that's a long rest. But not a problem. I think you should rest long between your squats. Yep, and he says linear periodization, which I'm assuming, yeah, he's got like mapped out for himself. Then barbell row or pull-ups. I don't love giving you option between these two because they're such different exercises. They're not even like they're similar in the way that apples and oranges, so like an apple and a steak are similar in that they're both food, but they're totally different in terms of why you would do them or when you would eat them. And the same with this. They're both back exercises, but they're so different. The barbell row is a big posterior chain compound back movement that works mainly like it's a horizontal pull, rhomboids and traps and all that sort of stuff. And then the pull-up is a not compound vertical pull. So they're totally different. So I wish he would tell us which one he wants. Or even better, just have us do both. So I'm not a huge fan of that. Then we go hamstring curl. Yep, no worries. We already did that on day 1. But yeah, another leg day, why not? And it's just a way of getting some cheap hamstring volume, especially on a day like this where it looks like we're prioritizing the squat. Then we go belt squat or leg presser. Yeah, this is in fact, I actually think he says here at the bottom, quads / adductors. So no problem tossing in some hamstring curl to get a bit of extra cheap volume. When I say cheap, I mean not hard to recover from. Although I will say that I'm not a huge fan of the order. I think some of that stuff, if you're planning a day around something, say it's a quad day, I think you should throw in anything else maybe towards the end. That way you can focus on quads and then just throw in some fluff not fluff, but just some bonus at the end. So I'd rather this hamstring curl be at the end of the day or close to the end. But yeah, belt squat or leg press. I wish I had a belt squat. I don't, so I'd probably end up doing leg press here. And then 10 to 15 reps I think is a great rep range for a leg press. You can go a bit higher because there's no axial fatigue. Then adductor machine, pause and stretch position. Yeah, I love that. I think if you've got an adductor machine, why not use it? It's so cheap, it doesn't take much to recover from. And the pause and stretch position just makes sense. That's just good hypertrophy training. Then calves, 3 sets of 6 to 12. He doesn't say which calf exercise, but I assume as an advanced athlete, you can just choose it yourself. And then finally, sissy squat or leg extension just for a bit of bonus quad volume. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I really like that actually. I think that's a really good looking leg day. The only thing I'd say is we could do some supersets here. You could superset calves with the adductor machine, for example. That would save you a fair bit of time. And then of course with the other stuff, you could superset in some abs maybe. And then finally, our last day, pause incline bench. Yeah, great way of starting a day. Big, heavy compound. Then we go chin-ups. 50 to 100 total reps in as little time as possible. That's crazy. I think 100 reps of chin-ups would kill me. But I'm also like a bit heavy and a bit shit, so I don't know. a bit shit at chin up. So maybe if you're more advanced, totally fine. Osteograss dips, go slow and pause. Yep, agree with that. Once again, 50 to 100 reps. That is a lot of that is a lot of reps. That would, but yeah, I guess to be fair, like for an advanced athlete, I mean, for this guy who's obviously a bit of a tank, then maybe he's just chilling, so that's fine. Then we go press downs. I'm assuming he means like a tricep push down. Then a Bayesian or behind the back cable curl. What does that do? I'm not sure what muscle that targets. I might maybe just leave that. I'm not sure what that is, but I kind of want to know now. Behind the back cable curl. What does that train? Is it forearms or maybe traps? Oh, it's just a deep stretch bicep curl. Oh, excellent. I love that exercise. That's such a good exercise. Any exercise that can put a stretch on the bicep is excellent. I'd probably superset those two together, the press downs and the behind back curls. Your 1K machine anyway. No. To be fair, he's got floated exercise that can superset with anything other than bench, lateral raises, sit-ups, and leg raises, which is perfect. I think those are really good supersets. Superset in some abs. Only thing I'd say is there's a lot of chin-ups and dips here, which might be too much for some people. But, I mean, if you're advanced, then maybe get your shit together. Maybe I should get my shit together. This is a great program. I really, really like this. Couple of little things I would change, especially that row and chin-up thing, like kind of choose and maybe add the other one in. And I would toss in some supersets, maybe shorten the rest or figure out the rest a little bit better. But this is a fantastic program. I really like this. Well written, excellent exercise selection, good sets, good reps on the ones that I could see the reps, and a great structure of a program. You can see the logic behind each day. Each day starts with a compound, gets into some isolation work, the way bodybuilding should look. And he's even included progression for if you want it as well. So yeah, fantastic. Really, really like this program. Cheers.